Hello, welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today we're going to make a little dish. Either it can be used as a first course, some people have even used it as an entree, or as an appetizer, and this is chicken satay. And you've all seen when they have a skewer that they thread chicken onto and then grill it and then dip it in a peanut sauce. Well, that's chicken satay. What I'm going to be doing this time is a little bit different, and I'm looking for something that I can use as an appetizer. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using these smaller skewers. They're just little bamboo that they have, a little knot tied on the tip of them. I'm going to be using those. I'm just going to put the marinated chicken on them, and then we're going to go ahead and grill them, and then serve them with the peanut sauce. So the first thing we're going to do, since these are going to be either pan fried or grilled, especially grilled, is we want to take them and we want to soak them in water. All right, there. We'll just let them soak in there while the chicken marinates, and then we'll probably be fine. We want to do that to make sure they don't ignite and burn. Now, this isn't really as important when we're going to be doing it probably in a saute pan, which I'll probably use, mainly because it's going to be difficult to use the grill today. I'll probably just use a saute pan. It isn't that much. But if you're using a grill, make sure, especially then, that you go ahead and soak these. Otherwise, you're going to have trouble. All right, now, we're going to make this in a couple of steps. So here's the game plan. First, start soaking our skewers. Next, we're going to make the marinade, and we're going to put the chicken in, and we're going to let it sit for about an hour or so. And while we do that, we're going to get ready, and we're going to make the peanut sauce that goes with this. We're going to bring the chicken out. We're going to go ahead and cook them, and then go ahead and we'll plate, by taking the chicken, putting it around a bowl, and then putting a bowl of the peanut sauce in there. So there's our game plan. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to do is I've got a cup of just plain yogurt. All right. There's our yogurt. I'm going to put in one finely diced shallot. I'm going to put in a couple cloves of garlic. About a half to a teaspoon of ginger. Now, remember, that is for dried, and dried is more concentrated since it doesn't have any water. If you go ahead and use ginger and grate it, you'll probably want to use a little bit more than that, probably a couple of teaspoons of that. But that's something that you try in there until you get the flavor you want. And finally, about a teaspoon or a tablespoon plus a teaspoon of curry powder. All right, now let's go ahead and whisk this together. All right, let's give it a pre-taste. Very good. You can taste the curry in there. You can actually taste the ginger. One thing though, that before you do anything, you want to take some hot sauce, and this is good old Chef Richard's, homemade hot sauce here, and just give it a little bit, probably about 4 shakes, something like that. Much better. So now let's go ahead and let's put our chicken in. And all I've done, these are just chicken tenders. What I've done is I've just taken and cut them probably in thirds. If I were going to be serving this, say, as an entree where everybody was going to have, 1 or 2 of these, I'd probably use the whole tender and then thread it onto the skewer. In this case, I want them to be bite-sized, because the last thing you want is for your guests to go up and want to get the appetizer and then find out, oh, I need to cut it. Well, what do they cut it with? Yeah, so make sure it's all bite-sized. All right, there. Now we have our chicken in our marinade. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and we're going to let it sit for at least an hour. And while we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get set up, for making our peanut sauce. So I'll see you in about an hour. Don't go away. All right, while the chicken marinates, let's go ahead and let's make our peanut sauce. And I'm just going to give this a minute here for my little saute, or my little saucepan here, to warm up. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to saute our aromatics. We've got another shallot and a couple of cloves of garlic here that we're going to go ahead and we're going to saute those. Then when those are nice and aromatic and fragrant and kind of sweat soft, then it's going to be time we're going to take and make the rest of it in our blender. So the first thing we want to do is we want to take, probably a tablespoon of vegetable oil. In this case, I'm just using canola oil. And to that, let's go ahead and add our shallot. And our garlic. Okay. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to saute this until the shallot sweats out and everything's nice and fragrant. All right. What I want to do now, and the reason I'm putting this in these little ramekins, is I want to go ahead and I want to get rid of the induction plate just simply because I won't need it. And I want the blender here. So give me a minute to get set up and I'll be right back. All right, now let's go ahead and let's take our aromatics that we went ahead and sauteed, and I want to put those in the blender. I also want to put a half cup of coconut milk. I've got about another tablespoon and a half of curry, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, about another teaspoon of ginger. And here we have a teaspoon of chili hot oil. Now, somebody may say, well, that's not an awful lot for in there. Well, yeah, you're right. It's not. But I tell you what, you'd rather get too little in there than too much, because you can always add a little bit more. All right. Alright, now we want to go ahead and we want to take and add about a half cup of smooth peanut butter. And I want to add the juice of a couple of limes. Now these limes are pretty good sized. So I'm just going to start out with the juice of 1 lime. Because most of the time the limes are small and dry. Alright. Now the last thing I want to do is put in a little salt. Okay. You can taste the peanuts in there. You can taste the curry. And I think it's going to need just a little bit more of our hot sauce. here's my curry. Much better. I'm going to put the final 2 teaspoons of the hot chili, and I'm also going to put probably about 2.5 tablespoons of curry. Now, one thing I do want to do is I do want to add just a little more salt. That's really good now. So, anyway, at this point, I've got some hot water out here, and I don't think I'm going to need it because what you're going to want to do is, you see how that's reasonably thick as it is, but it's not too thick. So what I'm going to do is, if this were too thick, I'd be putting that hot water in just about, a teaspoon or so at a time until it gets about right. To me, I think it's about right now. And so let me go ahead and, well, first off, we want to go ahead and put our peanut sauce into a bowl. And put some cilantro over it. And I'll put that under the detail camera here so you can see it. And we're just going to set this aside. And we're going to go ahead and let me get this cleaned up, and we'll get out the chicken on the marinade. We'll go ahead and we'll fix them, and then we'll go ahead and plate. Then we get to try it. That's always my favorite part of it anyway. So, don't go far. I'll be right back. Okay, now, our chicken's been in the refrigerator, is well marinated, and I took the skewers. out of the water, and let's go ahead and put the chicken right on them. All right, I've gone ahead and I have all of my marinated chicken on the skewers. Now what I'm going to do, normally I take this out to a grill, because I like the grill marks on there, but just for the sake of today, it's not going to be real pleasant out with the grill. So I'm just going to do it here on the saute pan. I'm going to put just a little oil in here. And that's just vegetable oil. I think it's canola oil. And we're going to put in our chicken pieces. All right, now let's go ahead and let's saute these for, probably a couple minutes on each side. What I want to do is want to make sure that they brown up nicely on the back side, also so that they're on the pan long enough that they're going to release easily. And then when we flip them over, we're going to brown them on the other side, and that's where we're going to make sure that they've cooked all the way through. So give me another minute, I'll be right back. All right, now I'm going ahead and both sides have been nicely browned, it's cooked through. So I'm going ahead and I'm sticking these on a plate here. There. Now I'll put some more in. All right, now we'll give these a couple minutes. I did put the lid on it after they brown because that helps them cook through a little quicker. All right, let's put the cover on and let's just let it sit for another minute. These will be ready, we'll pull it out. Now, as you can see, I went ahead and I took our peanut sauce and I just put that in center. And that's where we're going to go ahead and we're going to leave it. And we'd set that out, and that way people would come, grab their piece of chicken, dunk it in there, and it's all bite-sized. Remember who I've always said you're thinking of first and foremost. Yeah, your guest. And so the last thing you want to do is leave your guest with something they need to cut, they can't get it in their mouth, and yet there's nothing to cut it with. Make it bite-sized. Think of your guests. Just stick that over on the stove, and let me go ahead and wipe up just a little bit of the splatterings here. There. Okay. Me just taking, do like chefs do, and let's just go ahead and let's clean our plate up a little bit. There. There, much better. Now, what can we do to garnish? Well, we can put a little cilantro over this. Such. We can put a lime. There. And there we go. Here we have a chicken peanut satay. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to put this under the detail camera over here so everybody can see it, see what it should come out like. All right. So, there's one last thing. Excellent. There's one other thing, and this is just if you want to, this is kind of a garnish. If you want, you can sprinkle just a little paprika on there. That little bit you're not going to be able to taste, but it is going to give you just a little more color on there. I can taste the peanut. I can taste the peanut sauce. I can taste the chicken, the marinade in there. Personally, everything, the flavors all meld together real good. They come out real good. And I think we got a winner. So, once again, here's something that I wish you'd give a try. It's really easy. It is good for an appetizer. In fact, that's what I was trying it out for today. I've done it with the long sticks. I wanted to try this mainly because I'm thinking of taking it as an appetizer, and this certainly shows that it would work. The thing I might do is I might take and chop the ends of these little skewers off so that they're not quite so long, for bite size, but they're really good. So once again, thank you all for, letting me into your home. Thanks for watching me. I really do appreciate it. Leave me a comment. Let me know how you do. Or if you have any suggestions, whatever, let me know. And in the meantime, take care. God bless. Remember that cooking should always, always be fun. And I'll see you next episode. Bye for now.